name's Chuck Baxter. I am a member of Mid-City Artists, that I do art for work, just for fun, for myself. And I use found objects that I find around the neighborhood to make my pieces. I moved here to Washington, D.C. in 1993. At that time, the neighborhood was very rough. The playground across the street was full of trash. Teenagers and adults hung out there during the day, sold drugs, and did all kinds of stuff like that. So every morning I got up with a plastic garbage bag, or actually a shopping bag, and I went around the playground and I picked up the trash. And eventually I thought, well, why don't I do something with this trash? This lights up. This is a light. I use the material that I find, and I think if I lived in a different environment, I'd be using what I found there. When I first moved here, I found a lot of needles, drug baggies, just litter. When I first started, of course, it was just a matter of trying to keep the neighborhood a little bit more clean, picked up, and especially the playground. The playground was a big bowl made out of concrete. In the winter, the drains had plugged up, it filled up with water. Mosquitoes was a problem, and if you let it fill up with trash, it became even more of a problem. So it was just trying to keep the neighborhood clean. In about 1996, we decided we needed to renovate the playground. The neighborhood association did. I was the president of the association at the time. We had monthly meetings of the neighborhood association where we discussed what was going on in the park, and the neighbors were in on that whole process. We sat on the panel that chose the artist and then worked with the artist to improve the design that they presented to the group. He came up to the attic and went through boxes of stuff and pulled out stuff that I had collected. So I'm kind of like that. So my stuff is in the mural, in the tiles on the wall. The fact that we got kids involved, we got all the neighbors involved, we had endless meetings about what we wanted, and made sure everybody knew that we were listening, that for the playground renovation and for the art part made a big difference. Plus, we didn't have money to hire people to do everything, so we had volunteer days where people from the neighborhood came over and we built the playground equipment ourselves there. We put it up ourselves. We spread the mulch ourselves. So the neighborhood itself has been very supportive of the playground renovation, and people even buy houses here because of the playground. I have a perspective on the community by looking at what's in the alley, the trash that's in the alley, and I see the changes of what people discard in the community. And I think in my early days here in the early 90s, I found things that were stolen more things that would, like purses and things like that, which I turn over to the police, but I don't find that so much anymore. Briefcases, I used to find briefcases in the alley. And if there's a card or something, I could call the guy, or whoever lost it, he'd come over and get it. But I don't find that so much anymore. This one's a funeral scene. There's a body in here, and all the mourners are around it, made from just little bits of this and that I've found here and there. I do art as it used to be a hobby. It's still a hobby. I'm retired, but so I have more time that I can do art. And the byproduct is, I think, improved environment, because I pick up the trash that people throw away, and I pick up things that people discard that I think are still useful. But that was never my main concern, except in the very early days when I was just trying to keep the neighborhood clean. So I don't go out thinking I'm going to save the world by picking up bottles and things like that. But I like to keep you can't tell it from here, but I like to keep my environment picked up. Most people in the neighborhood who I know are supportive of what I'm doing here. There's some people in the neighborhood who walk around, walking their dog, they pick up stuff and they bring it and put it on my porch. So that's encouraging, I guess. And as the neighborhood changed, the nature of the garbage changed, and now I find toys and strange things that I don't know what they are. This little toy here that I found. I thought someday I'm going to do something with this, and so it sits there and stares at me, and eventually something will click, and I'll say, "Ah, I can do something," and something will fall into it. So it's all very unplanned, it just happens. And it's very satisfying to me to find something that I can use, and especially if somebody else likes it. I'm attracted to colorful, shiny objects, sort of like a magpie. I guess that's it. The shinier, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Because they kind of stand out in the things I do.